Welcome to Kick Back with Chris. Kick Back with Chris, the martial arts podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kick Back with Chris. It's good to be back. Thanks again for bearing with me last week. I just needed that time off just to kind of catch up with myself a little bit. We had family visiting. It's the time of year. Kids are off school. It's all a bit hectic. So yeah, thanks again for putting up with that one. And thanks for continuing to listen. Interestingly enough, and I don't quite understand why this is. Maybe someone out there listening in can help me right now. But we've just had a huge spike in listenership in the Netherlands, specifically in Amsterdam. So if you're listening out there in Amsterdam and you know why that's happening, I would appreciate it if you could let me know. We had just short of 100 additional listeners tune in through last week when no podcast went out, and it was all specifically in Amsterdam. But hey, whatever, it's all good. It's all good promotion. Whoever is doing it for me out there, thank you very much. So this week we're going to be joined by one of our first guests. Actually, he was our first guest back on episode number 2. Those of you that remember back there, we had Mr. Matthew Chapman on, and at the time he was talking about everything to do with online courses. This week he's going to be joining us to talk about a different subject, another area in which he has been incredibly successful and has a lot of information and knowledge on. It is using Google to promote your martial arts school or business. So we're going to be talking to him a little bit later on. But before then, as we always do, we're going to go through some things. I've got a nice big long list of stuff to go through today, of varying different things, which is really quite cool. So starting off, Eric Jacobus, who was on our show. Actually, I'll say his name right, Jacobus. It's either Jacobus or Jacobus. He probably gets both, to be fair. But anyway, Eric was on our show when we did the Jackie Chan special, if you remember back then. He's actually a very successful martial artist and stuntman, filmmaker. But he's also now branching out into motion capture. Now, the reason I mention this one is I was on Facebook and I saw a video he posted, and it was a really interesting idea. He did the motion capture for, well, it was a fight scene he created, basically, just to highlight the services that he provides. His company called Mittmaster, and he was fighting himself. So he recorded both fighters. So he recorded the attacking movements, and then he recorded the reaction and movement for the opposite fighter, and then obviously using the computer software merged the two together. So it's really clever, something I can't ever remember really seeing. I've seen it obviously within films, for example, like The One, where they'll morph the face of the actor onto another stunt performer. But this one, motion capture, the same person fighting themselves. Very, very cleverly done. And I'm actually going to try and link the video into the show notes. But for now, if you want more information, you can head over to ericjacobus.com, where you should be able to get all the information on that. And again, check out this video. It's really, really quite cool. Coming up next, we've got Dave Kovar. I'm sure all the instructors and school owners out there know all about Dave. The real deal guy. This guy is a martial artist first and foremost, and some very, very impressive videos he's posted up over the years of his training and his gradings, and the skill that he has is very, very, very impressive. But he's also a very, very successful businessman, school owner. I've actually got one of his books called The Martial Arts Instructor's Toolbox. If you're a school owner and you're looking to implement an instructor training program or SWAT team, that sort of thing, I highly recommend you pick up this book. Although from perhaps a UK perspective, some of the stuff you do need to modify it a little bit to suit our market maybe, but a lot of the ideas are very, very transferable and very, very useful. But he's going to be in Liverpool September the 7th and 8th doing a business boot camp, obviously aimed at martial arts instructors and school owners. I've not been on one of his camps, but I have read through a lot of his literature and seen a lot of his videos, and it's good stuff. It's quality stuff. So if you're interested in getting involved in that, check it out. I'll put the details in the show notes as always. Next, we have news of Isaac Florentine. So anybody out there who is a martial arts movie buff will know of Isaac's work. Another cool, obviously, he's a director and producer, but the really cool thing is, again, same as Dave, he's a martial artist first and foremost, and a very highly skilled one at that. But it's really cool to hear that he actually picked up a Lifetime Achievement Award this past week. Some of the films that people will probably know him for, going back to sort of the 90s, we had Cold Harvest, but more recently, the Undisputed series, series and the Ninja series with Scott Adkins and others. So yeah, congratulations to Isaac on picking up that Lifetime Achievement Award. Very well done, and hopefully we're going to get to see loads of even better and fantastic movies in coming years. Next, somebody who I've had the pleasure of training with and working with a couple of times, Mr. Chris Grudelli. He's going to be having a Thailand multidiscipline beginners course running between the 17th and the 31st of October. The best thing to do is head over to his Facebook, or there's actually a PDF-based brochure on his website, chrisgrudelli.com. I think I've got that right. I will actually, if I've got that wrong, I will put it in the show notes. If you Google search his name, it comes up anyway. A fantastic opportunity to get out to Thailand and train in a multitude of disciplines, and obviously tour around, have a look at the area as well, all under the guidance of Chris and his team. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Again, I'll put the details in the show notes. Next we have news. Again, this is one I saw on Facebook, a cool one, that if I was closer I would definitely attend, and something that I would really enjoyed when I was a bit younger. Chris De Vera, who was I think he was our third guest. In that interview, he mentioned his school that was in the process of building up. It's all up and running now in San Jose. Next Gen Martial Arts. They're actually now running stunt and choreography training. So if you're headed that way, or you're obviously based over there already and you're listening to this, and you're interested in getting into the movie business from a sort of fight choreography, stunt sort of side, martial arts based, then head over to that. Some of the things they've posted online, it looks really good fun actually. So give that a look and see if it's something that you're interested in getting a go at. Mark Dacascos, somebody who I've mentioned a few times in previous episodes, most recently probably for the announcement of his work in John Wick 3, has just been announced as being part of a new Netflix series that's coming out called Wu Assassins, I believe it is, off the top of my head. I didn't actually write it on my show notes, ever the professional that I am. But no, it's a Netflix series, and so cool to know that he's going to be part of another TV series. I really enjoyed his work in Hawaii Five-0, and obviously the huge back catalogue of movies that he's been involved with as well. But another person who's going to be involved in that same series is Iko Uwais, who most of people will know from The Raid. And it looks like a really interesting series. I think it's been picked up for 12 episodes. And yeah, it's always good to see good actors and martial artists being picked up for these series. On the subject of Iko, I actually just saw. I'm trying to remember the name of the film. There's got a new film coming out with Mark Wahlberg, and I saw the video for it on YouTube the other day, and it looked quite interesting. But yeah, I guess if you just type his name into YouTube, it should just come up. To finish up this section, the next one we've got is from Mr. Paul Finn, who actually contacted me on Facebook. And I now remembered, interesting enough, that Paul was actually on one of the courses that I did with Matt Chapman, who's coming on later. But on the 1st of September in London, Paul is going to be running a Fundamental Elements of Kali, Silat, Wing Chun and JKD seminar between 1pm and 5pm, which, if I could get to it, unfortunately I can't, but if I could, that would be something I would be definitely interested in checking out and getting involved with. Again, I will put the information into the show notes so you can go and check that one out. Now, on the subject of news going forwards, now this last week I posted up just a bit of a prompter really, because obviously we had the week off last week and people have got out of the habit, and it's very easily done very quickly. And I was asking for people to submit news so that we can run things in this section, of which some of you did, which is great. But overwhelmingly, what I think we had more than anything was people contacting me with regards to a plug for their classes as opposed to workshops. Now, obviously, it's difficult for me in the respect of plug-in schools or groups of people that I don't know, as I'm sure you will understand. It's not a personal thing, not by any means at all. But obviously, I want to be promoting stuff that I've personally seen, or I know the person. I don't want to just be accepting people's information and then putting it out there. So what I thought would be pretty cool, and in fairness to make use of the service that I spent a while getting set up, if you want to promote your own club and classes, that I am absolutely fine with that. And the way that you can do that is if you head over to our website, kickbackpodcast.com or martialartspodcast.co.uk. They'll both send you to the same place. There's a little orange button at the bottom from our system called SpeakPipe, and what that allows you to do from your tablet, your phone, your computer, as long as it's got a microphone, is record up to a 90-second recording that then emails to me that I can then use in the show. So if you want to plug your school, your club, what you've got going on, if you hit that record button, let's say you get 2/3 into the way and make a mistake, you can just delete the recording. You don't have to say, it's not like a one-time deal. You can record it as many times as you need. And I don't hear the mistakes. I only hear the one that you submit. So, if you want a free plug, then if you get that recorded, send it to me, and then what I'll do is I'll include the recording in the show. It just sounds a little bit better as well. It gives it more of a personal feel if it comes from you as the instructor. Okay, so moving on. As I mentioned, we've got Matt Chapman coming up in a short while. But before then, what I wanted to do is to go on to our topic for this week. Now, we get different suggestions sent through via Facebook, usually, to be fair. Although you can submit via email at the website that I just mentioned before, which was kickbackpodcast.com. You can do an old-fashioned web form or email if you prefer, or even a phone call, dare I say. But no, actually, don't do a phone call because I'll forget. Terrible memory. If I've got it written down in front of me, then I'll not forget. But yeah, we get lots of things submitted. Now, some things, in fairness, in all truth, I have to admit, because there's sometimes the subjects are a little bit too politically slanted one way or the other, and the last thing I want to do is get involved in feuds like that. But this one in particular was something that was mentioned a few weeks ago, and I've sort of put it on the back burner to include in a week like this week, where we've had a break and submissions have been a little bit lower because we weren't prompting people last week. So what I wanted to talk about was instructors training with their students in class. Now, this is a really funny one, because when this is mentioned, immediately some instructors are like, yeah, well, what's the problem with that? And then others are like, absolutely no, instructors don't train with their students. And they come from it from a multitude of angles, all of which I fully respect and actually fully understand. But I wanted to put my take on it, as again, it's a subjective one, and I understand that with the different arts and with the different teaching styles and the way that people have been taught, for some people they have different beliefs on it from a respect standpoint and certain boundaries, and I get it, I totally get it, and I understand it. But I'm going to come at it from my angle, from the way I was taught and from the way that I teach. Now, for me, I do occasionally join in with training with my students. Why? I think that it's important that you set the level, as an instructor. And even though, in all honesty now, I do have students, younger students, late teens, early 20s, that are physically probably more capable than I am now, they don't have the 30-something years experience that I do. So I feel that there is always something that they can learn from my experience and joining in. But more so, I feel that if I expect my students to do certain things, then I should be willing to join in and do it too from time to time. Now, that comes with, for me personally, a certain, how do I phrase this? There has to be the right time to do it. Okay. Now, if there is a particularly challenging class where I feel it's better that I have all eyes, all hands on deck with regards to keeping an eye on the class, then no, I won't join in because I don't feel it's safe to. Maybe it's a younger group, or maybe some people that are a little bit they just need a watchful eye on them in the, say, the sparring class. They just need somebody ready to sort of break it. But if I have an insured instructor in, so I've got another black belt in, and it who's insured and has all the relevant training to teach. If they can be in my session and be my eyes, so to speak, then yeah, I'll join in the session. Now, if I am the lead instructor and I only have assistants in class and they don't have any insurance or any qualifications in that respect, then no, I will not join in, because I'm not going to hand them the responsibility of watching over a session when they don't have the experience, nor do they have the legal side of things taken care for them in the guise of the insurance. Now, I know some instructors do anyway. And all I would say on that one, from my point of view, is, if you're focused on sparring with that person in front of you, can you realistically be keeping an eye on the rest of the class safely? I don't really think you can. If you're prepared to argue that one, if something comes up or something happens, then I guess that's for you to decide. But I think, again, just to go over what I said before, for me, joining in from time to time is a really good way to, gain your students' trust, to gain their respect because they're seeing you joining in, to show that, you're not indestructible, that, you join in, you make mistakes, they see that. I think they gain that extra little bit of respect from you, and then every now and again, you can just knock them around the room a little bit. But no, joking aside, obviously you don't do that. But I think it sets a good tone and a good example for the other people, and I think it earns respect rather than demands respect. Sometimes in martial arts, it can be like that demanding automatic respect, and doesn't tend to end well in those situations. It's respect is earned over time. And joining in and putting your own abilities on the line, it's a good thing to do. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go just to a short break, and then straight after it, we're going to jump into our interview with Mr. Matt Chapman on Google domination for your martial arts school.
You're listening to Kick Back with Chris, the martial arts podcast, brought to you by www.onlinekicking.co.uk.
Okay, so joining us on the line now, we have once again Mr. Matthew Chapman, the Mittmaster. How are you doing, sir?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming back. We didn't put you off, which is good.
No, it's really good. I enjoyed myself.
It was episode 2, I believe. I think it was episode 2. I just looked at the call logs. It was back in May, so time has flown.
Yes.
And you've been keeping busy.
Yes, very. I've still been doing the Mittmaster thing, and I've been teaching martial artists how to start teaching online themselves, which has been really good. I've been traveling around the UK, meeting with various instructors and getting them started online and setting up their online programs. And that's really good fun because it just allows martial artists a different way of earning a living other than just teaching classes.
Yeah, which I've made use of quite well actually this last few months. I initially, when I first launched it, I had a bit of a push, and then I'm just been sort of trying. More than probably most actually out there. It just takes a little bit of time to learn how it works and figure it out and tweak it and try ideas and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's going quite well, and I'm happy with how it's gone so far, and looking forward to what it can bring in the future. So anybody out there that's considering doing it, stop considering it and just do it, because I sat on the fence for so long with that, and it was ridiculous when it came to it.
And the sooner you get started, the sooner you get better at all these different bits, and the sooner you can start creating a bit more of a regular income with the online thing.
Yep.
So it's best to start as soon as possible and get your marketing going and start building your email lists, etc.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I've not really tried properly with it yet, because as I say, I'm still learning. But we've very, very quickly we made over $2,000 with it. I'm quite happy to say that, and that was not without really trying. And
yes,
it's so easy because there's millions of people out there. So get on it, people.
And what you need to do is just get to the point where you've got like 1,000 people who, whenever you release a product, will buy. And that sounds like a lot, like to try and get 1,000 people, but it doesn't take too long. It only took me sort of 3 to 4 years of consistent work to get that group of people who are like core fans, who will just, whenever I release a product, a program, or something like that, will just buy straight away. And then it's pretty good.
Brilliant. Well, as fantastic as a little tie-in, we actually spoke about this at length back on episode 2. So if anybody listening now, if it's the first time you listen to the podcast, go back and listen to episode 2. After this one, listen to this one first, then go back to episode 2 when you can listen to what I was back then when I was still new, and check that one out because it's really interesting, and actually it's one of our most popular podcasts. It's one of the most downloaded and streamed episodes that we've done to date.
Yeah, but it's not the most, is it? Who's got the title of most?
I can't remember now off the top of my head. I didn't want to have that stat to hand to just throw in your face. You know what I mean? But
competitive martial artists, you know what we're like.
Hey, well, now you see, you're back for round 2. So this one's going to be the one, isn't it?
Obviously.
But so could you just explain a little bit about what you're here today to talk to us about? Obviously, we've had a quick chat off air, but I'll leave you to give us a brief introduction.
Yeah, well, I've been getting a lot of inquiries about Google and how to use Google to get students, because that was, really when my martial arts school started taking off, was when I dominated Google in my local area. And I kind of defined dominating Google, meaning that if someone searches for martial arts on Google in my local area, my website dominate the first page of Google. So I've got 4, 5, 6, or 7 rankings on the first page of Google, meaning that they have to choose one of my websites to get in contact with martial arts in my local area, and my competition don't even get on the first page. So once I started doing that, and it's not difficult to do, this is the thing that most martial artists instructors and struggle with, is they think it's really technological and really difficult and they're going to have to figure this out, and it's quite a simple process that I'm going to take people through, and it just allows over time for you to just get more and more rankings on the first page of Google, and you just get a steady stream of inquiries every month for free, because you don't obviously have to pay for this is just on Google for free. You're getting 20, 30 inquiries every month just rolling in. So then you don't have to do much other type of marketing. The only other type of marketing I used to do at my school was referral marketing, so obviously bringing in students and friends of students. But after that and Google domination, I didn't really do much other marketing. It wasn't necessary.
Wow, so successful as that. I mean, now at the minute as well, more so, this really is the time to get on this, because I was just having a quick look at, especially with smartphones now and the way that people are using smartphones. Apple in particular, was just looking at the growth figures. I don't want to go off topic too much, but it is relevant, I think. Apple, 46.7 million units sold in the third quarter of 2017 versus Samsung, only Samsung on its own, 82.8 million handsets. And then the handsets in third, fourth and fifth place were all Google-based devices. So Google's on the front of every phone now. It's just, not every phone, but the majority. It's something that people are going to be just picking up constantly and using to search for things. So, people need to be using it, don't they?
They do, yes, absolutely.
Cool.
And the thing with Google is, once you get Google domination, you get this steady stream of inquiries, and every month that you're going to get roughly the same stream of inquiries. And the main benefit is the people who are actively searching on Google for martial arts classes in their local area are interested in learning martial arts right now, as in the hot prospects. They're searching for martial arts. They're actively looking for it, which is a bit different than people you find on Facebook, because if you show ads on Facebook, everyone's going through their feed, just looking at cat videos and chatting with their mates and, doing this and that. And then suddenly your ad appears. They're not actively looking for martial arts at that point. It might interest them and they might go, oh yeah, I might click on that and have a look and see, but they're not kind of the same level of prospect as you get with someone who's actively on Google trying to find martial arts in the area. So I always focus on Google first, referrals second, and then Facebook third in my marketing.
Interesting.
Personally.
No, that's really interesting, actually. I mean, I just thinking about it now, with the way you've put it, it does make sense, because with Facebook, I mean, we're on. I do it as well, and as do other instructors. We put a lot of time into Facebook ads and getting the print right, and which is right, and then putting the money into it. But if I'm honest, I totally neglect Google. I don't really give it much thought. And what you've just said actually makes sense, because if somebody picks up the phone or their computer and goes into Google and types martial arts in Knaresborough, for example, they're actually searching for it, aren't they? So it is quite important that you're on there. I've just done that now just to check, and we are actually on there, so it's all right.
My question to you is, how often are you on there?
Do I check, or how often do we show up?
So you need to check if you go into incognito mode, you want to check, like type in what a prospect would type in, like martial arts in Knaresborough, kids karate in Knaresborough, and see how many times you show up on the first page of Google. You want to show up at least 5 or 6 times.
Okay, I'm on the front page now. This is a little on the spot check, isn't it? Okay, so we come up.
Make sure you're in incognito though.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to do that through Internet Explorer, aren't I?
Because you can't. If you search in your regular on your regular web page, because you're constantly going to your website and checking things and changing things, it ranks it higher for you. So you have to use incognito.
Okay, I'm doing it now. I'm actually going in through a different browser.
Oh, this is exciting.
We're doing it live. Okay. So what keywords am I going to use? I'm going to search
martial arts classes Knaresborough.
Martial arts Okay. I'm coming up. There we go. So, okay, and when you get the little box with the map, we're at the top.
Obviously you're on there.
We're at the top of that one.
Perfect.
And
then go down the page.
We're the next one underneath there as well. So we've got 2. Okay.
And
then, hang on.
Competition.
Okay, 3. We've got 3. We've got
good.
3. We're mentioned in a news article. Does that count?
Good. Yes, of course.
4. And that's it. Oh, I've only got 4.
Oh, it's not bad. It's better than most. Most like martial arts instructors only have like 1 ranking on the first page of Google for their key search terms.
There's too many of my competitors, though. I'll be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just think about this. Would you like, when next time you do that, for that whole page just to be full of your stuff?
Yes.
Only.
Yes.
So that's what I teach. That's what this seminar I'm running on the 9th of September at Gordon Bertrand's Academy is about. It's about how to get to that point where you can dominate the entire front page for your key search terms. Not just like martial arts in NESBA, but kids karate in NESBA, kickboxing classes in NESBA, self-defense training. So you can just dominate the whole of Google.
I'm trying that
then,
now.
like, your marketing is almost done. Like, if you're getting 20 or 30 inquiries from Google and 10 from your referral scheme, why do you have to use Facebook? I stopped using Facebook once I got this stuff down because I didn't want to pay for anything.
Very interesting.
I mean, the reason for using Facebook is obviously it's, you can find people who are interested, who might be interested in martial arts in your local area, and you can offer stuff to them, and they might get in contact with you, but then you have to warm them up. You have to, engage with them. You have to get them excited. You have to offer special deals and discounts. You have to warm up basically a cold market. Whereas obviously the people on Google are actively looking for martial arts. So they're just, if they click on your link on Google and they, find out about your stuff and you get in contact with them quickly after they inquire, it's very, very easy to recruit them, and it's free. This is the whole thing with Google. If you get this sort of stuff done right, it's free. You get inquiries every month for free.
We like free. Free's good.
Well, martial artists do like free because we're tight usually. But, I think, but see, people find it easier to understand Facebook. They use it, they understand it. Whereas they think this Google stuff I'm teaching at this seminar is going to be all black magic and mumbo jumbo, but it's not. It's really, really simple stuff that you can do every sort of day, and it just helps. And one of my websites, I got ranked I created the website, I did my Google domination stuff, and it shot to the top of Google in 3 days.
Wow, is it quick as that?
You can get it up so quickly. Yeah.
Wowzers, that's really quick turnaround. So obviously the thing with Facebook as well is that it's always changing. You get a system down, you get used to it, and then the next thing you know, this keyword's been changed, or this and that. With Google, is it a lot more? Do they change things as often, or does it?
Yeah, all social media sites and search engines change their algorithms frequently. They're just trying to make things better for the end user, which makes sense. But the Google situation is a lot easier because as long as you are actually showing people what they want, which is martial arts lessons in NESBA, and your website's all about martial arts lessons in NESBA, they're happy and they will rank your pages. So the whole idea is to get to the point where you literally don't have to do any other marketing. And I ran my school like this because we were dominating Google in my local area for about 5 years. I just shut down all other types of marketing. I didn't do any flyers. I didn't do any Facebook advertising for classes, just for special events and things like that. And I just used Google and referrals, and it just, every month, we got 30, 40 inquiries. It's nice.
Fantastic. Wow. That's brave.
It doesn't require much updating either. Once it's ticking over, it just does what it's supposed to do.
Crazy. Wow, that's really interesting stuff. So you basically, to test it, you stopped using all the other forms of sort of standard advertising.
Well, I just had a way of tracking where people had found us. So I'd obviously asked the student where they found us, or I'd use pixel codes to find out where they found us. And Facebook does work. Obviously, it works. You can get hundreds of people to inquire about your classes, but I find I want to go after the people who are actively looking for martial arts, not trying to convert people who 6 months down the line might be interested in martial arts. My focus is more on finding the people who are actually, I want to, I'm overweight, I'm out of shape. My mate says martial arts is good. I know, I'll have a look on Google. I want that person.
Absolutely, because they're actually,
Not the
they're
person
actually
watching cat
looking.
videos on Facebook. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. Excellent. So am I right in thinking, I suppose this is sort of transferable. It doesn't. You don't have to necessarily be advertising martial arts classes. It could be workshops or seminars or.
It could be anything you want to show up on Google. Yeah.
Wow. So it's pretty powerful. So anybody out there that's listening that might not necessarily run a school, but might have something. Maybe they have workshops or private lessons, or run something different. This is something that they could benefit from as well.
Yeah, the problem is most martial arts instructors don't like marketing and don't understand marketing, and therefore are fearful of it and won't do what's necessary. What I've managed to do, because I've done a lot of training on this and spent a lot of money getting up my skills up on the online side of things, as you know, is Absolutely. I've managed to simplify it for people. So I've taken out all the complex steps and made it a very simple process. So you do this, and this, then you're going to show up on Google more. And you'll get to a point over a period of time where you'll dominate Google. You'll just control the first page, which means your competition can't get a look in. You get all the inquiries, and it's gravy after that.
Absolutely. It's interesting as well, because something I've noticed, because obviously within my school, one of the things we use is Facebook. We create groups for the parents to be in and the students to be in. But actually, we're starting to find more and more now. People are taking what we're kind of calling Facebook breaks, and we're getting quite a lot now that people are saying, "Oh, I don't use Facebook." I suppose there are those people out there that if you're just putting everything in Facebook, kind of you're losing that the people that are searching elsewhere. Because I'll be honest, I never look at Google to see where we are until I've just done it now.
If you think about how people search for martial arts, here's how they used to do it years ago when me and you started. They'd look in the yellow pages, they'd see an ad in the newspaper, they'd see a flyer stuck up in a newsagent's window, they might get one through the post, they might see you at a school fete or demo, and that's how they find out about martial arts, or they'd ask a friend, right? Nowadays, people are going to ask a friend about martial arts first. They're going to maybe go to Facebook and say to Facebook, hey, I'm interested in doing martial arts. Do any of you guys know anywhere good? Which is a referral thing, right? So it's not necessarily to do with Facebook. Or they're going to go to Google and search. If they don't get a good response to that, they're going to go on Google and search martial arts classes near me. And you need to own that first page, because it's so simple after that. If you've got good process, a good system, and people get in contact. One of the amazing things I find out about people who call a martial arts school is sometimes it takes the instructor 24 to 48 hours to get back to someone, which to me is totally unacceptable. When I was running a school, because I don't run a school anymore, I sold my school. When I was doing my school, I would make it a rule that I had to get back to someone within an hour, because every hour that passes after they've got in contact is another hour that they're either looking for at your competition, or they're kind of losing the desire to continue with the process. So, I phoned up schools and they haven't got back to me at all. So you need to, once you get the people through Google and you're getting these 20 inquiries, you need to be back on them within an hour and setting up your free trial class, or, your program, or whatever.
For sure, I think that is a really important fact, actually, because a lot of times I've come across that. People spend a lot of money on getting systems in place, and they invest their time in learning the methods and processes, and then don't do anything with the inquiries when they come in, and it's like wasting all that time and energy there. You need to be getting in touch with these people, and one thing I noticed as well is when you, as you say, I'll be honest, I'm not always within an hour. I do try to get back within always the same day at least, and they're always, what I notice as well, oh wow, thanks for getting back to me so quick.
Yes.
And straight away that sets the tone, doesn't it?
So I had the same problem. So I either automate an email to go back to them saying, we're all teaching classes right now, but we'll get back to you as soon as possible if it's email. But I also use something like All Day PA. So I pay them to answer my phones, so that when I'm not there, they say, hi, Masters Academy, and they speak to the person, and they say, all our instructors are currently busy teaching, but we'll get back to you within the next few hours. Now, what that does is that satisfies the person who's made the call that, they've got a response. Yeah. They don't want to leave an answer phone message, and they don't want to call back later, but they've got a response, so they kind of settle, and they're willing to wait then. Whereas if they get nothing from you, or they get an answer machine message, they just oh, okay, I'll try the next guy. They don't bother. But that automated response buys you a couple of hours to get back to them.
Absolutely, and I mean, I would imagine this will tie in eventually, if not already now. It's not something I've looked into, but now with people using Google on their devices through vocal terms, through OK Google and all this sort of thing, I'm assuming that will tie in to the rankings and on the search as well. Yes, it will. Fantastic. And I saw a news piece when you were saying about the phone there, a news article about Google had actually developing the OK Google Assistant to be able to handle phone calls, make phone calls, do all sorts of crazy stuff. So I would imagine now's the time really to be getting on this before those sort of things start becoming commonplace. Yeah,
you want to at least dominate the first page of Google for all your key search terms, not just like one, but all your classes, everyone you're trying to attract, so that you just control the first page of Google.
Absolutely. So you mentioned there's a workshop going to be going on soon. Is it at Gordon Bircham's? Yeah,
so I'm teaching this type of stuff about Google domination on the 9th of September from 11 till 4 at Gordon Bircham's school. He's very kindly, because he's a super dude, isn't he?
He is.
Everyone loves him. He's such a cool guy. He's lent me one of his conference rooms to teach this sort of stuff. So I've got a few spaces left on that if people are interested. If they go to blackbeltbiz.co.uk, that's biz spelt with a Z on the end, blackbeltbiz.co.uk/Google, they'll be able to sign up for the course and come along and learn all this stuff. But the main fear I think people have about it is that they don't feel technologically skilled enough to do it. They're not too comfortable with using all the technology. But the things I'm going to show in the workshop are just very, very simple, but they make such a massive difference to ranking on Google. I'm not going to do anything difficult. It's all going to be simple steps that any sort of martial arts instructor can take every week to improve their rankings on Google.
Fantastic. So they could maybe bring something with them and actually do it on the spot, I suppose.
Oh, we'll do it on the spot, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Well, and we'll do all the tests to see where your pages rank and what your keywords rank for and how fast your page loads and how good it looks on mobile. And then we're going to check each other's websites out. We're going to cover a lot of stuff. But it's all going to be really simple, basic, and I'll make it fun as well, because this stuff can be a bit dry and a bit boring. So we'll try and make it a bit of fun.
Excellent. So I like the idea of everybody trying each other's websites as well. That's cool.
Yes.
Make sure
you might love your website because you've built it or you've got someone to build it. But when someone else looks at it, they're like, oh, no, it's too confusing. It's a bit of a mess, etc.
Yeah.
So it's good to get feedback.
Excellent. So what other things have you got going off at the moment then that you can tell us about? I know because you're so busy on Facebook. I see all the things that you're doing and all the different things you've got going on. So you've got some seminars coming up soon, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a seminar. I only do 2 open seminars a year for the Mittmaster side of things, the pad training system that I've got. So I do one in London and I've just got another one going in Sheffield now.
Oh, wow.
So because I'm just so busy with doing stuff, teaching martial arts internet marketing and doing my own thing, that I can only really do 2 open seminars a year. So the next one will be on the 4th of November in Sheffield at XL Martial Arts. So if anyone wants to come and do the Mittmaster pad training system with me, send me a message on Facebook or get in contact and we'll sort that out. But it's good. The last one in London had 65 people attend, all hitting pads and sweating it up and having a good time. And yeah, it was really good. So hopefully Sheffield will also be really busy and fun.
I would imagine so. That's at Liam's school, isn't it? XL in
Yeah,
Sheffield?
that's right. Yeah, because he's got his new mega beautiful facility, which he's just opened.
Wow, is it open now? I've not seen that.
Yeah, it's open now. Oh, you should see the videos of it. It's gorgeous.
I am going to go and look in a minute now. Well, there's two reasons to go now, guys. One, to go and check out the awesome content that Matt's going to be teaching, and 2, to check out Liam's facilities, because knowing how he is, that place is going to be... I haven't even seen it yet. I saw the building when he took over it, but I have not seen the transformation.
It's world class now. It's fantastic.
Wowee. Okay, well, Matt, as always, it's a pleasure. Half an hour has flown by as always, but thank you very much for your time, because I know, as you say, you're a super busy guy. And what I will do is include all the details of everything we've spoken about on the show notes, so if we've gone over it too quick and you've missed it, you can go click all the links in the show notes, and then go and check out all the things that we talked about.
Wicked.
All right, thanks again.
Thank you, mate. Bye.
Bye now.
Enjoy our podcast? Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review Kickback with Chris on iTunes today.
So big thanks again to Matt for joining in today. Always a great guest to have on, and it's always such great information. And I would urge, and this isn't a sponsored plug or anything, but I would genuinely urge you, if you're considering going to one of Matt's seminars, get yourself on there, because as I mentioned earlier with the online training, I've not really pushed it too much. I mean, I know some people have seen my posts on Facebook and maybe think, oh, you've seen them a lot, but honestly, compared to a lot of online marketers, the amount of stuff I've put on is just a drop in the ocean. And as I say, we sold over $2,000 worth of videos just so quickly, which has enabled me to put that back into my school and to help it grow and providing new equipment and new things for the kids to use in the kids classes especially. So, get on it, have a look. Don't turn your nose up at it through some sort of like old-fashioned martial arts type snobbery. And that's not a get at anybody. It's just that's what can kind of happen. Oh, not snobbery, maybe fear. Sometimes we can be a little bit fearful of change or perception. People maybe, I don't want people to judge me if I do this with online stuff. But anyway, people are going to judge no matter what you do. You can't control that, can you? So yeah, get on it, get learning. I'm actually going to have a look now to see if I can get onto this Google domination course, because it is something that as I very openly just said there, I don't check Google ever for my school. It's one of those things that I just, I didn't really give it any thought, because I search for my school and it comes up. But, thinking about the importance of how often it comes up on what order on the page. But so maybe give that a try yourselves now, Google your school name, the art that you teach, the area that you teach in, the surrounding areas, how much do you show up? I've noticed a couple of times some of I don't like to use the word competitors, but I suppose in business they are, but the other local schools are actually latching onto certain keywords that connect to our schools, so that when people search for our school, then their websites come up. Some may see it as cheeky, but I suppose it's business at the end of the day, isn't it? But all this stuff you need to take into account and have a look for. But as I say, thanks again to Matt for jumping on and getting involved. It's always appreciated, and I'm sure we're going to hear from him again very soon, because he's a busy guy, always got stuff going on, always really positive. And again, what's really cool is he's also a very highly skilled martial artist, and that's always good to know when we're chatting to him. So another little topic I wanted to talk about wasn't planned in the episode. It was actually just following some conversations that I've had this last week, but it's one that's come up several times over the years, and I know different instructors have different takes on this, but as I say, I always like to talk about maybe the more sort of challenging aspects of teaching, but this is one of, and I know this is going to be a subjective one for sure, there's going to be people who have very different opinions on this, but this is just my take on it. Should instructors attend social functions, nights out, parties, that sort of thing, with students away from classes? Now, again, I know a lot of people are going to have different opinions on this, but this is just mine. I mean, the way that I personally, out of my own choice, I don't get involved with any sort of nights out, especially with students. Now, again, as I said, this is one that's going to sort of divide, I would imagine, but I suppose it comes down to your own sort of I wouldn't say ethical or moral standpoints, but just the way you teach, I suppose, and the logistics of the size of your school. I mean, I've got a sort of medium-sized school, I suppose you'd say, at just over 200 members. But the thing with it is, and I have fallen for this when it was early days, is let's say you've got Dave, Pete, and Jimmy. Okay, just see if I can remember those names now. Dave invites you on an evening out. He also invites Pete and Jimmy, and you go along, and you have a good time, and it's all great and whatever. And then Jimmy has a night out, but you can't go for whatever reason, or you choose not to go. And then, Jimmy's left thinking, well, why did you go to the first one, but he didn't come to mine? And does he not like me? Is it this? Is it that? And it can create these funny atmospheres within the club, whereas you seem to be picking people as friends rather than students. And I've experienced this. It creates division within your club. There's like these little pockets of, and there's always going to be sort of this social side of the club where people are the little friends groups. But I personally, as an instructor, don't want to be influencing that anymore. And it can be a bit of a dangerous game. I mean, and for me, I will always be friendly towards my students, but I'm their instructor, not their friend, and I feel that there needs to be that very clear distinction between being a friendly instructor and being a friend. I personally wouldn't want my students to be calling me at 1 a.m. for a chat. I like to keep my home time separate from when I'm teaching and when I'm at work, the professional side and then the personal side. Again, I know some instructors that are much more relaxed on this, and I would imagine if you're running a smaller school, then perhaps you have more of a sort of a social vibe to it, like a friends group, and I respect that. I totally respect that. But for me personally, as the question that was put to me the other day, I, as a rule, don't get involved in parties and going out. And another thing as well, when I first moved to the area that I'm in now, and I was making an effort to sort of be the friendly instructor and be that friendly guy, that nice guy everyone wants to come and train with and stuff. But the reality of it was, my school was new. I just opened it. And the first 2 times we went out, both times there was that drunken idiot that decided that, oh look, they give the mates a nudge. Oh, that's that guy that's just opened the kickboxing school. Go on, go and hit him, And people say, oh well, yeah, just hit him back. But when you're teaching kids, these things have to be considered, because it takes. It's all very well just saying, oh well, I'll just hit him back, but then it takes that one punch. Something unfortunate happens to them, and you need to be considering this sort of stuff when it's your livelihood on the line. When you've got I've got money tied up in the lease on the building that I run, so I can't be considering going out and getting in fights and potentially impacting my ability to be able to teach and be able to run my business. So for me personally, I have a clear divide between being friendly and teaching in class, but politely turning down the opportunity to go out drinking and socialising with my students. Maybe you see it a different way. I totally respect that. If you do, give me some feedback. Drop me a recording on SpeakPipe. Be very, very, very happy to include it in the show. A bit of a back and forth, so to speak. So the long-term plan now is to keep these going on a weekly basis, especially now that we're getting back into the school term. And again, any suggestions for guests, anybody you would like on specifically, please do let me know. To be honest, I really, really enjoy when I hear from people that have listened. We had somebody post a really cool Facebook status the other day about how through listening to my show, they'd actually been able to get in touch with a club that their child had wanted to train at, and now they're training there, and if it wasn't for listening to the show, then that wouldn't happen. And that is so super cool when situations like that come up. So get in touch, send me a message, drop me a voicemail, and it just makes me feel a little bit like it's not just me talking to myself. And again, I just spoke to this briefly to Matt before he went off the line. If you know who and how we've just had that huge percentage increase in Amsterdam, please drop me a message and let me know, because there must have been a link posted somewhere, or somebody's been sticking up posters on lampposts in Amsterdam. I don't know. It's all cool. We like the extra listenership, but it would be very nice to know who's done it so I can at least thank them. But I hope you have a great weekend, great day, whatever it is you're doing. Enjoying the rest of what's little bit is left of the summer. I'm going to be taking a holiday for a couple of days, getting away with the family. So hope you enjoy your weekend, and I will catch up with you all next week.
You're listening to Kick Back with Chris, the martial arts podcast, brought to you by www.onlinekicking.co.uk.